Hello, friends, benders and non-benders alike. Welcome to Braving the Elements, Nickelodeon's podcast about all things Avatarverse. I'm Janet Varney.
And I'm Dante Bosco. And Varney, this is officially our last episode of season 3, you guys.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And to be honest with you, I feel like I could just turn right around and start it all over again.
No,
I love watching this series. You want to do that?
No,
Should we just do that?
Get out of here. I cannot wait to get
The Boy in the Iceberg.
No.
Here we
I can't wait
go.
to get into Korra. I can't wait to get into Korra, dig in. I can't wait for me to be in the other seat watching you reminisce about all the old adventures, the old gang.
Yeah.
You know, blurring the line between Varney and Korra.
Here's the thing. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yes.
if we are going to see.
See
I mean, I
what?
kind of hope that we will, but I don't know if we're going to see as blurring of a line as we see with a certain Zuko and a certain you.
Look, I don't know. I think it might happen. I think it might
Okay.
happen.
All right.
I mean,
You don't even feel like there is that much of a blur.
hey, listen, there's another firebender that
Let's
I
just
know
test
that
it.
I know
You
in
know
Korra. There's
We're
another
gonna test it.
firebender in Korra.
We're just going to test it.
Yeah.
You're being so chill right now, but let me just say, and this is totally unrelated, a lot of people have been saying that Azula would have made a better Fire Lord than Zuko.
Who's saying that? Who?
Doesn't matter because you're not Zuko,
Who
right?
has the audacity to blasphemously say, A, she was never Fire Lord.
Correct.
And never
Uh-huh.
crowned, coronated. I don't know what the word is, coronated?
Yeah, you could say, crown for sure.
Did not happen.
Yeah.
Sorry, Azula. And she'd be the worst.
Uh-huh.
The worst Fire Lord.
And you're saying that as Dante.
I'm saying that as Dante going, she'd be a horrible Fire Lord. No one.
All right, forget it then. I don't know what I was, thinking.
Azula.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Fire Lord.
Yeah.
Please.
Uh-huh.
That was like the end of the Fire Nation. That would be the end.
Could
of
have
the
been.
It
I don't
could have
disagree
been
with. I don't disagree with you
the
on any
end.
of this.
As if like father wasn't worse enough and grandfather.
Hold on,
Ha,
that's sounding
ha,
like
ha,
Zuko. That's sounding
ha,
like Zuko. That's
ha.
sounding like you just said my. That's you.
Okay, I don't know.
You're the only person other than the Avatar who can possibly defeat the Father Lord.
You mean the Fire Lord?
That's what I just said.
I'm looking forward to getting into.
Let's
Korra.
see how Korra goes. Let's see how
It's gonna
Korra
be
goes.
super
Let's see
fun.
how Korra goes.
It's going to be very, very fun. And this journey that we have been on together has truly been such a blast.
I loved every moment. Every moment. It was so amazing. So what are we doing for our last episode today?
I mean, take
how
a
does
look
this
around.
work?
What do you see?
Nobody. I mean, we had a great time experiencing Sozin's Comet with Evie.
Yeah.
And with Mike and Brian, our
Yeah,
two dads.
yeah,
and
yeah.
now
We did our trivia, which in past seasons, I think
Awesome.
we had done at least one
course.
finish of a season with trivia with the amazing Isabella and Pramod from Avatar Studios.
Yes.
We had our wonderful friends Tony and Rennie. And so we've done it. We kind of did those.
feel so lonely in this room now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't want you to feel that lonely
Okay.
because we're not entirely alone. We actually have with us not just our own memories and
Yes.
opinions and thoughts and reminiscences about this wonderful 3 years of talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I also reached out to our cabbage heads on
You reached out to
social
cabbage
media.
heads?
And I said, we often ask people what their favorite
Of
moments
course.
from Avatar: The Last Airbender
Always.
are. And I really felt very vulnerable reaching out and saying, hey, everybody, aren't there enough of you that care about the podcast that you could share some of your favorite moments of Braving the
No, we're
Elements
doing
with?
favorite episodes of Braving the Elements.
We got a ton of responses.
wow.
We do not have time to cover all of the amazing responses that we got. A lot of
I am
people
so
said similar
flattered.
things, and then there were tons and tons where I was like, oh, I want to talk about that. And then we just don't have time.
I'm
so we're
so
gonna,
flattered
Right?
on one hand, and I'm very embarrassed on the other hand that you guys followed me and Varney, me mostly, bumbling through
No.
Avatar: The Last Airbender. But I've
becoming
learned
professors.
I-
Degrees. Bumbling professors.
this is definitely a level up. I don't know what. I feel like we should have a sash on or something.
I know. We should have a little procession.
Some
where we walk
procession where
down
I
and
get some
pose for
degree, a
picture
degree.
holding our
It may not be
holding
a
our
ma-
waterbending scroll.
It may not be a master's. I understand that, and I didn't go to
Yeah.
college, so I don't understand how all the levels work. But
That's fine. We have those fans who
associates
are
degree, or
so,
something?
associates. Yeah. I think we are better. If I recall correctly,
Bachelor's degree.
Well, didn't Lexi say that we were kind of in the realm now of talking about PhD because like we got our masters at like 2 years, and now we're getting towards our PhD.
We're going. Oh, so we're above masters.
My voice has never been higher than it has been in this episode.
love
That's
being
how
a
embarrassed I am
master.
about asking people about
A
us
master
and our
of
podcast.
a master of Avatar verse.
Yeah.
Bachelor first. So we already got a bachelor's for sure.
I feel so confident.
Why
in
is it a
saying we have
bachelor?
bachelor's. That's a great question.
I know what the bachelor is like.
Yeah.
I was a bachelor for a long time.
You know
I
what?
a
This
TV
is a
show.
question I've literally never thought about. I have no idea.
How did we go from bachelor? Maybe when you get married,
Yeah.
you go from bachelor to master in life.
I guess it seems a little
Maybe.
gendered. But
I mean,
welcome to the world.
You can go from bachelorette to master too.
Yeah. Oh, that feels
What
weird.
is that?
I have my bachelorette in theater. That feels weird. Thank you. You've blown my mind right now. My mind is blown. I don't know if we have time to talk about our podcast because now I just need to get into why it's called a bachelor's degree. I have no idea.
To all the bachelors and bachelorette. I got a bachelorette.
I'm glad.
in fine
It would
arts.
be weird if it was like I got my bachelor in theater, I got my marriage in teaching, and I got my divorce in being a principal.
I'm a master's in divorce.
Yeah, it's too confusing. Okay, so with all that being said, let's talk about
Let's
what
get
some
into
other
it.
folks' favorite moments were. We can talk about
I'm
our
nervous.
responses
Let's
to them. I
get
am
let's
too.
get into it.
But we want to bring you in with us for this last
Right.
episode. So we're not doing it by ourselves. We're doing it with you.
We're
because
gonna reward you because you guys been rolling with us,
Dude.
this whole time,
would we have a podcast without you?
and
Absolutely
we're very
not.
thankful. We're very thankful.
We are very thankful. That's the sound of a man who's trying to get some.
I'm not trying to get anything. I'm
You're like,
trying to
and
hope-
just remember how much we love you.
how much we
before
love
you
you before you
humiliate
tell
us
us
with
what
your favorite.
you liked about the nonsense of what we've somehow got into
Yeah.
some of the times.
Let's take a look. Let's take a
see.
look.
Okay, you guys, Randy Love 11 out there says, one of my favorite things was learning Appa was part manatee. Also mine, Randy Love 11. And as a Floridian, another favorite was witnessing Dante learning what manatees are because I forget people from other states don't have manatees. Y'all don't have manatees either, all right? Floridian man. You don't have it. It's in the ocean. Growing up in the 90s, there were so many manatee PSAs.
They were endangered and are
damn bad.
endangered.
So Brave the Elements inform people about our little sea cows.
Appa. We know Appa's an air bison. They'd never expressly say it in the show, but the creators reveal that it's a bison manatee.
I am looking at a manatee right now. I just looked it up, Varney,
Yeah.
because I was unaware exactly what a manatee looked like. I've heard about them. I know about it. Then I said, oh, that's the manatee.
Yeah.
And actually, the way this manatee is pictured here floating across the water is very much Appa-esque. Floating across, that the classic shots of Appa kind of relaxed floating across the sky is the manatee. That's the manatee silhouette.
See what we're doing? But you remember that? That was like
I do
early
remember that.
days.
That was early days, and it was very important. I'm glad that Randy Love 11 was, big enough to admit that he too did not know.
He did because he is from Florida.
But he knew what a manatee was, but he didn't know that Appa was part manatee.
Correct.
Which a
Randy?
lot of people out there, nobody knew.
That's very true.
But he knew
very
what manatee
true.
was.
It's not like I knew going in. I knew because
Nobody
I
knew.
read about
But
either someone told
when I
us
looked it
or-
up,
Yeah.
and I kind of knew what a manatee was, Randy Love 11. I know what a manatee is. It's a big, I've heard of it. I've said the word several times in life.
In what context? And I don't want to dwell on this too much. Would you have said the word manatee without
Manatee.
knowing what a manatee
'Cause it's
is or why you would be
the
saying
thing,
it?
manatees and other things in the ocean.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. You're like this and that, the
I don't
badger
know.
this,
Badger,
the manatee that.
manatees, just
Got
life.
it.
Things are happening.
Got it. Yeah. So thank you, Randy, for reminding us of our beautiful manatees,
Yeah.
of our beautiful Appa. And so it was so wonderful getting to revisit
great.
those early days
I
when
never
now
met a-
we're just like, oh, of course, Appa's
We all know
Appa.
it's manatees. I never met a manatee I didn't like.
You've never met a manatee.
Ever.
We got to make it happen.
No one knows manatees.
Okay. Let's go to one of the next favorite moments from A Cabbage Head. Alleyways says, one of my favorite moments was definitely when D. Bradley Baker taught you both to do a few animal
No.
sounds. So interesting and very funny. Wiener Schnitz reacted to that and said, yes, I was cracking up trying to make shearshoe noises while listening.
I got.
It's a really interesting sound.
In advance, I'm so sorry.
What I'm doing with Appa is I'm using a lot of the throat to make like a nasal inner nasal growl that I then give more resonance to because I block my nose. So instead of it's a.
Dante, just go like this. I'm ready.
All right.
I'm totally ready.
So it's like it's not just a. I'll show you the progression of it. It's
Choking
like,
myself!
before you
D,
choke
I'm
to death.
choking myself.
You poor man. It's. I'm not even using my voice when I do that. I'm using all of this up here to make that low growl. And then I block it off.
That sounds good.
Not here and not down here, but it goes up here. That's
I sound like Yoda's being tortured. That can't be right.
I don't know what's going on.
You guys are nailing it. You're killing it.
This was a very popular
Episode?
moment. Yeah, people love that. Shout out to Emily the artist, Sasfob, Kimberly, Carolyn Marie, Kagoma Katara. I'm sure I said that wrong. Hipster Elf. Everybody was weighing in on the D, trying to give us the dignity of learning how to do the
Horrible
animal
episode.
voices.
Horrible episode. Horrible episode. I try to forget. I can't. That's embarrassing.
That's one of those where I did kind of think I was going to be better at it. And then I started
That's
doing it and I was like, nope,
embarrassing.
nope.
What did it's the Jennifer Hale's character drove around? I think it's called a shearshoe,
Yeah.
exactly what
right?
it is.
And that's got a lot of snuffling and kind of growling.
I feel good about this. I feel like I can snuffle.
It's kind of I arch the tongue in the back, and then I breathe air in and out audibly from my puckered lips.
Yeah.
This is shearshoe mouth. And you can do it both ways, both in and out.
I'm choking myself again, D.
Huh?
Great.
That's pretty good.
That's good.
Here comes his friend. Here comes his friend.
Oh, here comes his friend. Dante,
No
wake up.
vocal juice. I just
Dante,
used
stop,
soft
stop
palate.
snoring and wake up. Wake up and do the
That
sound.
was soft palate. That was soft palate style right there. It's not flattering. Unflattering.
Sensitive gag reflex, that's all I need
Very
to say. Okay.
sensitive gag reflex. But that's why D. Bradley Baker's so great at what he does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, guys. We have another one here from Terry Blass. One of my favorite moments comes from season 2, hearing about Ivana Lynch's work and activism regarding wild animals in the entertainment industry. It made her the perfect guest for Appa's Lost Days. Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yes, it was like I'm sure. I remember that episode because I remember Bonnie cried. An episode I
How
can't.
can you tell that
I just
episode from
remember.
any other
I
episode?
just knew it. I remember. An episode I get through without ugly crying.
Yeah.
Our animal companions enrich our lives so much if we love and care for them. And Atla is a terrific example of that in animation and storytelling in general. The one and only Ivana Lynch.
Thank you for having me on this episode, which I know is so heartbreaking, but I feel like it's such an important episode because it's one of those episodes that has real world resonance. So
I do think of you as being a real champion for Appa. I did wear my baby Appa shirt for you. And
so cute.
and you are well known in the world at large for being an advocate for animals and tiny life everywhere.
I work with a few organizations about wild animals in entertainment, and it's quite a difficult cause to get across to people because people only see the tricks, they see Appa in the center of the ring doing a dance or whatever, and they go, those animals look fine, they don't look like they're in pain, but they don't see what it takes to break these animals' spirits. And I really appreciated that about this episode, that as painful as it is, it shows one of the trainers literally going, I'm going to break you, because that's what they do. So I understand that people want to be close to wild animals, and often they end up participating in these cruel activities because they love animals. If you actually saw what goes on, what poor little Appa and his real world counterparts, aka elephants, tigers, all those animals, if you saw what they go through, you wouldn't want any part of it. And there's a better way to interact with animals, respectfully, letting them be wild, as Aang and all the crew teach us. So,
Do we call Avatar: The Last
I just
Airbender
said-
Atla?
People have been saying it to
Oh
me.
man. Okay.
I didn't know that.
I've just been saying ATLA.
I mean, I say ATLA too, but
as
then
if it's like a local LA TV station.
I was like, I can't. Yeah, there's a look very close, and I say ATLA too. But
Yeah.
then at the last con,
Atla.
a lot of people have said Atla, and I
All
was
right,
like,
I can dig it.
okay.
Okay. Agreed. Loved that episode. Love Ivana. Love
Shout out to Evie Lynn. She's amazing.
What a wonderful and dear heart. Could not be less surprised that she loves the Avatar verse as much
Yeah.
as we do, for all the same reasons that we do. And yeah, she's always doing good stuff and is just a lovely, lovely person. I wish I could
phenomenal.
introduce her to real life Appa. Like, I wish that Appa were real
Yes.
for so many reasons, but not the least of which is like, it would be so fun to see Appa like getting petted by Evie.
Yes, I love that she's able to join us multiple times here on the
Yeah.
podcast. She's so wonderful, and she does great work. And Appa. I mean, shout out to Appa. It's
I
lost days. I'm
know.
glad we found you, Appa.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like
we found you. He found
Zuko
us.
helped
We
a
all
little
found
bit,
each other.
didn't he?
Jet helped.
Jed helped.
You know,
Jed
a lot of
helped.
heroes. A lot of
Lot of
people. It takes a
heroes.
village. Not the village that Jet wanted to destroy. It
Yeah.
takes a village of people who are safe
Right.
and don't have somebody who's making rash
It's hard
decisions.
to think when you have an animal that big, you could lose it.
Tell that to the Sandbenders.
And when Sandbender stole it, for
Yeah.
sure. The con that we went to, where there's a big, they do the
I know
big
that was
life-size-
amazing
Yes.
at Sci-Fi Valley.
Right. And I just saw it again at a con recently in Motor City, and I'm like, how you gonna lose that thing?
That's a good point.
Are you looking at it like, how would I
Yeah.
lose that big of an animal?
People really have to want to keep him hidden if they are going to hide
Now,
him from
manatees aren't that
anybody.
big, right? Manatees aren't that big.
They're not that big.
They're not that big.
I mean, I think they're kind of cow-sized from my memory of actually having seen one
You saw a
in
manatee?
the water.
Were you in the water with it?
I got into the water and
You
but
got
I
into the
didn't get-
water?
Yeah, because they're so sweet and gentle, and I was like, I'm about to swim with a manatee, and then it was like, cool, bye,
What?
and then it swam away. Yeah, it was in the Gulf of Mexico. It was beautiful.
I swam with a whale shark
Oh, that's
in the
awesome.
Philippines. Not me. We're in the ocean. Did I swim with him? I don't know. I was
Did
in-
he think
I
he
was
was
in his
swimming with
vicinity.
you is the
He looked
question,
at
yeah.
me.
That's a whale shark. Was it huge?
It was the size of a bus.
Ooh, I just got chills. That would be
I
so
had chills
crazy.
too. He came at me so fast and stopped, and then went right through my legs.
Did you hear the water version of Break Squealing?
I
As
kind
it
of
stopped.
freaked out. Do you know what we call it was in the Philippines? Do you know what we call the whale shark in the Philippines?
What?
The Bhutan ding.
The Bhutan Ding?
They go, that's the Bhutan ding.
That's beautiful.
That's called the Bhutan ding. Shout
Shout out to the Bhutan
Shout out to
ding.
the Bhutan ding.
That's
Maybe
much more
in
beautiful than whale
future
shark.
episodes of Avatar,
We'll get a whale shark
the Bhutan
hybrid.
ding. He may show up.
I would
you know?
love that. I love a good
Mike
whale
and Brian,
shark.
if he hears, we can call it the Bhutan ding.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So next one, let's talk about, comes from Inkwell 1931. That
Wow.
is actually our friend Jeremy, who's a wonderful comic artist. He does comic books. He's a wonderful illustrator. We met him at Sci-Fi Valley
Yeah,
Con, same
okay.
place where we saw that giant Appa the first time. And he says it's always a treat whenever you have voice actors from the show on board. Having Grey DeLisle in character as
great.
Azula for the Nightmares and Daydreams episode was a notable highlight for me. Shout outs also to J. Will the Gent, Matt Malone, quintessentially me, Caroline Marie, Ashley, Summer, June. A lot of people loved seeing Azula razzing Dante / Zuko for Nightmares and Daydreams. It felt very real. Every time you think you can just relax and take a breath because she's nowhere nearby.
You pitiful fools! I've been here the entire time, and I've been merely waiting for the perfect moment to strike you down with my awe-striking power. Scissors.
She's back. That voice.
That's okay, Aang. The eclipse will block all firebending anyway. You don't need to know any. Plus, it's a stupid element.
Well,
That's a stupid
only a
statement.
half of it.
That's
Only half stupid. Only my brother's half.
I love that this particular episode of Braving the Elements is like Zuko's nightmare, where Azula is just hanging out with Janet and Dante talking about the show.
What is going
It's so
on?
Plotting and planning.
I love it.
Great, Lau. I love you.
But
I hate Azula. No, she does. You talk about people who blur the line.
but
Who are blurring the line.
yes. I mean,
Great
in
Lyle.
fairness, I told her to blur the line
No,
for
no,
that
I've been
episode.
around her
Yeah,
many
but she
times.
will very comfortable. She even if I hadn't been like, "Hey, do you want to blur the
No,
line?"
She told me she has a new outfit she's gonna wear at the next con we do together, like a blue flame outfit. I'm like, don't you come out in no blue. Don't come out in no blue flame
She
out.
stole our blue waterbending
Don't
color and just
come
appropriated it and is using it.
To no con around me with no blue flame jumpsuit.
You're gonna
Said
see
like
it.
Elvis Presley. Like, yeah, I don't want to see that.
Yeah. So we also love having all the voice
We
actors
love it.
on.
Amazing.
Such an amazing,
Great
great time.
Jack DeSena.
Greg Baldwin, Michaela Joel Murphy, Cricket,
I mean, Jenny Kwan,
Olivia.
Olivia
We've had
Hack.
so many. I mean, when you go back to season 1, y'all, if you have not checked out season 1, we have a ton of voice actors that you don't see again because they're characters that you often don't see again.
Right.
We had Joanna on, Yue.
Yeah,
we had
Yue,
Jet.
Yue.
We had
Crawford.
Crawford. Bringing the Jet.
Shout out to Crawford.
Yeah. Kevin Michael Richardson.
Yes.
And a lot
Andre.
of people were mentioned. Andre. I mean, I know we're forgetting
Phil.
people. Thank you.
Let's not forget
We're going to
Phil.
forget everybody. I'm so glad. You're really pulling them out. And I'm like,
I'm trying to remember
so terrified
too.
that I'm going to forget
'Cause
people.
they're
That I am
friends.
forgetting people.
And
I
they're
know
gonna be
they're
like-
all friends and they're
They're
wonderful.
like, you didn't say my name. I was like, my bad.
Okay, reach out to us, punish us, let us know what we missed. This will be part of clips next year.
Yes.
Of us forgetting all of our friends. So I agree. You agree. It was a real trip every time Gray was Azula, and it was a joy for me.
For me
For me.
also.
Yeah.
That voice though. Nightmares. Whatever you did, Nightmares and what?
Nightmares and Daydreams one. where
Nightmare
she's
one?
the-
Nightmare's the right
yeah,
episode for
she's
her.
like the
Nightmare episode.
We hear the dragon
for Zula,
voice.
they're the nightmare right
Mm-hmm.
there. From Rivera and also Lilith L. Exvert said something similar. One of my faves was y'all having Ben Wynn on and him explaining how they made certain sounds from the show, which I love that episode too.
I know.
There was a lot of joy between Jeremy and I of getting so much usage out of like $3 to $5 items. You know, like actually the main flute that is in the main title and the end credits was like a $3 flute that like I got at it was like in one of those bins that you can get at just random like 99-cent stores or whatever.
Yeah.
And that is immortalized, and it's fun that these random small things that just are totally kind of useless until they have some incredible use,
Right.
And then it's like, oh my God, this is why I had this thing.
Oh, we got to hear those sounds.
Let's do it. I mean, I don't know how impressive these sounds are going to be, but that's kind of the point. Like
That's what we want. We want the
I
artisanal early sounds.
We want to hear the original sound of air.
found the magic wand. That's the raw recording, and then this is
Which already sounds pretty
some
cool.
processing. I don't know if you recognize that.
That's good.
That's like a spirit portal.
Yeah.
So basically, I would layer a bunch of these.
I mean, it really works.
It's yeah. All right, so let's see so here's like a moment from the pencil test that is all like finished. And
I mean, that sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, to my ears, it sounds very quaint.
I think it sounds great. Ben is awesome. Jeremy Zuckerman is awesome.
Yes,
he got
Jeremy.
a ton of shout outs on social media as well.
So it's got 4 strings, and you actually play it. How with guitar, most people know you like pluck inward. With pipa, you actually play out, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to play it more like a guitar because I'm not a very good pipa player. But it was used on like all the Chong songs,
Okay.
like winter, spring, summer, fall. I'll play that one because that's.
Some of our favorite episodes have been with Jeremy. Loved that episode
The
with
music
Ben.
and the sound is such a big part of the show.
Absolutely.
And so to really kind of hear these guys, these masters.
Oh yeah, but
explain to
also
us.
like the backstory of like every time one of the OG people comes on, so often it's like, oh yeah, I lived with Brian and Mike, or like, oh yeah, it was a friend of a friend who like they really brought in people that maybe didn't have the same level of experience as who they could have sought out, knowing that this was going to be a high profile project. But the fact that they fought for their friends. And then, you know, here we are with Jeremy, you know, composing music that's now on tour the world over and selling out everywhere.
Used it on Leaves from the Vine.
Oh.
Whew.
Yeah. Cave of Two
Jeremy,
Lovers.
Gets you. Just
We
gets
should
you
have
right
told you we have
It
you have to
does.
give us warning if you're going to play Leaves from the Vine, because that one took me by surprise, and I immediately started crying, as I do every time even those words come up. It's just cool because it's like it feels like the early days of everybody
No, it's
working is like
great.
it's like Team Avatar.
It was
everybody's
exactly.
like hard scrabble, like making it happen, dealing with the challenges as
It
they
is
came up.
cool. I'm glad that Mike and Brian have cool friends
I am too.
that are good. Because think about like you and your friends making Avatar.
I mean, it would be funny. Stick
It'd
drawings.
be funny. What would it sound
Great.
like? What would
I
it
know
sound
a
like?
lot of great musicians. So
Yeah.
it could
Oh, you
have
do have a
some
lot
good
of
music.
Yeah, it could have some good music.
I can't promise that would be the
Animation.
level of
Yeah,
I mean,
the visuals would be.
I would be like, look, I made a flip book, and even the flip book would be like very clumsy and bad.
It's
Yeah.
like, was that fire
Look,
or water?
did you see
I
it?
don't
They
know.
took one step in the whole flip book.
It's cool that they have really talented friends.
Very,
Thank
very, very
goodness.
talented friends, and we got to talk to so many of them, and that was amazing. And then let's move on.
Let's move on.
to
Where are we going?
Ben for Ben.
Okay.
Ben for Ben. Shout out to you. Ben said, I really loved the Great Divide debate.
As do I, Ben. For you love the debate.
Right?
I love the episode.
debate, the episode for sure, and we got shout outs on just the episode and talking about it. But they were all kind of part of a conversation people were having about loving that debate and loving that episode with Danielle and Hector.
Yep.
Ben says, I defy anyone to listen to the four of you debate the pros and cons of that episode and not have a good time. Danielle and Hector really brought their A games for this debate, which is good because we all really needed a verdict about this episode at long last.
So my next point, I think that this had some really good stuff with Katara and Sokka. I like that they wound up being the voices for these two tribes. They wound up both being sent off with different tribes, and you really get to see, because it can be hard when we're dealing with characters we don't know, but when you put in the people that we care about and that we love and that we already know, and they start picking sides, it can be really, it puts you into that conflict. And they had already been having conflict throughout the episode, and they have conflicts on and off throughout the series.
Yeah.
So also being able to play with that relationship and find different ways for them to find conflict where it isn't necessarily, because a lot of times it'll be Sokka saying something that's like not super great about women, but to have them involved in this conflict, it also helps with the rest of the series, because you'll be like, oh, part of it is that, but part of it is also like these two people just are not people that super get along at this point. So I think that it's also a really good way to explore their relationship through the relationship between these two tribes.
Gosh, Hector, it's almost like you totally 100% agree. I mean, I'm seeing vigorous silent nodding. Not since my own vigorous silent nodding have I seen someone who looks like they're in danger of hurting themselves, because they are so silently agreeing with their own opponent.
I mean,
it's like very harmonious.
I was raised in the South, and we have manners, Yana.
And Liam Z also brought up the fact that, it's not filler.
It's not filler. There's no filler. All thriller.
It's all thriller.
It's all thriller, no filler. Check this out. I love that episode on artwork alone.
Absolutely.
The many different artwork, because we had the two different sides of the Great Divide, which are really cool artwork. And then even, I think that's when we introduced the chibi kind of characters at the end.
Yeah.
So, which live
I
on.
believe that's right. Yeah.
So, it's important.
It's beautiful.
I still stand on the fact that he lied at the end is what
sensitive issue for some
it
folks.
colors how people feel about the episode.
And I will say every time we talk about this now, we now know from Christian that it actually affected the stories of Kyoshi and Yang Chen, like that kind of history. So it really isn't filler now because it kind of informed
because it
other
happened
stories.
kind of. Yeah, it was informed. So that's kind of real.
Yeah.
Right?
That's canon.
It's canon.
We can consider it canon.
I think he may have known those. But can I just throw this out here? Maybe Aang really maybe did know those people. But, he was stuck in the ice for so long, he can't remember if it was real or not.
Oh, you're giving him the... even though he said, I totally lied.
Yeah.
You're giving him the
I'm
out
giving
that
him
maybe
the
he wasn't
out
even
that
lying.
He might not have been lying. He was just pulling from something that he didn't, was like kind of foggy on.
Unconscious.
Unconscious.
Yeah,
like, I kind of knew these people though.
Yeah. Great.
It's so long.
That's
It was over
very
100
sweet.
years ago. We didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I lied because I can't 100% give you the receipts on it.
Great. I would say most of us don't do that. Most of us, if we're going to lie, we're going to pretend like we're telling the truth. We're not going to tell our friends we lied, which is one of the things that we love about Aang.
He's a little trickster, this guy.
He's a trickster.
He's a trickster.
He's
Liar,
a trickster.
Trickster.
You could call it luck, or you could call it lying.
What?
I made the whole thing up.
You did not. That is so wrong.
Now, where's that custard tart?
All right, let's go to our next one.
Josh, another artist, that's his name, says the ad reads for non-existent Avatar stuff for now. I always have a chuckle at the odd products and services you guys are pretending to sell. You can buy it. You didn't get the website? It's turned into a guessing game of what you guys might do during the next episodes. Are you missing a loved one? Or even just a favorite item of clothing? We have your solution, because two of history's greatest detectives have teamed up to track down whatever you've lost.
Zulumbo Investigations is here to track down even your missingest belongings. And remember...
Yes?
I forgot what I was gonna say. Attention all Fire Nation brats, imps, and rascals! Are you feeling bored by your shenanigans? Did your last fireball prank feel a little ho-hum? Then put a little stink on it. Literally! With Hooligan Hijinks brand Hot Stinkers, the gift that keeps on giving. Rumble fans, get off your butts and buy your tickets now to Earth Rumble 7. All the excitement of Earth Rumble 6 plus 1. Who will win the championship? Find out live by visiting earthrumble6.ekingdom/ticks now.
Hey friends, Zuko here. When I've had a long day of defending my honor and I'm craving comfort food, I turn to Fire Nation brand Sizzle Crisps. Spicy, hot, and crispity crunchy. Fire Nation brand Sizzle Crisps come in 3 great flavors: tasty bacon, poppin' pepper, and smokin' vegan. Grab your bag today. Shoutouts to Panna Mark Tosis, Riding Purple, Kimberly, Valpal, Suma, and all the fine folks who love the ads. And thanks for Varney for writing these incredible ads.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. It is one of my favorite things to do, but it's one of my favorite things within all of my favorite things of getting to do this podcast. But I feel like
we're gonna
have a secret career in fake advertising.
That's good for you. I think I
don't
want
know
to
if it
open
is.
a shop on your local profile. I mean, your local platform, and you can go into that shop and buy all these things.
Buy all the things.
They're not going to work, but they.
Hey, it wouldn't be the first time someone had a scam
we're
on the internet.
Yeah, no, you have to listen to the disclaimer at the end.
Hey, Aang's a
all
trickster.
This is, all these,
Maybe I am too.
all these products are just for entertainment.
Yeah, it's
and
just
not
for entertainment.
and they're not FDA approved.
Yeah, and we cannot be held liable for anything that happens with this non-existent thing that you're never going to receive.
But you're going to get it.
Yeah.
Or it. Why not?
Love the ads. Loved all the people who helped put those together. And it's been really fun seeing them come to life on our YouTube channel, thanks to our production team. So
cool.
Buy it today.
It's on sale.
It's on sale. Very few people have been purchasing it, so now it's wildly discounted.
Wildly discounted.
All right. Let's get to what I would say is one of the most somber moments of the entire podcast.
Which one?
Very somber. Some would say a little bit traumatic. Very sincere.
Yeah.
And very intense moments.
We've had some moments like that.
Ibrahim Frederick says, "For the love of the Fire Lord, look at my face!"
Are we talking about acne? Look at me. For the love of the Fire Lord, look at my face. And we're talking about acne?
You're going to make me cry. Shout outs to Rennie and Erase and Suma and Seal.
Which one was that one?
That's you saying, "You want to talk about acne?
Oh.
In the beach?
Oh,
You
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
talk about acne?"
Oh, yeah, that's right. Exactly. I remember now. But that's true.
I know. Listen, Zuko has
Look
a
at
bit
his
of
face.
a bit of a
Let's
burden
like,
to bear.
you can't. Yeah,
He'd probably be, if he got, I don't think we've ever seen this happen to him, but if he got a pimple, he'd be like, "Oh, good,
Right.
something normal that
And
I
look,
can deal
it's
with."
just
on my face."
animation, so we've all gotten used to it.
Yeah.
You know, but if your friend in real life has like a burn that big on the side of
Yeah.
his face, all the way to his ear, mind
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
You can't
In the shape of fire.
In the shape of fire, you can't be complaining about no pimple. You can't really say anything about any blemish
Yeah.
around them.
Yeah.
It's
We all collectively apologize on behalf of teenagers everywhere.
on.
We're sorry, Zuko, that we're bringing up our acne around you.
Don't be bringing up acne around Zuko, because there are worse things that can happen.
There are. There are.
There are, but you know, hey, shout out to Zuko. We see beyond the scar. We see this whole thing about him.
Are you kidding
know?
me? Shout out to Zuko. People have huge crushes on Zuko.
He's great.
They love Zuko.
He's great. He's great. He's great. So yeah,
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this Zuko over here.
That
Well,
one
looks like he's sticking his tongue out, but that
that's
can't be.
that Zuko's a little turned up.
I love that he's right next to little Chibi Sokka too from Fisher Price. It's just sitting over there, like, "What? Who? Me?" Oh, that's good stuff.
Okay, that's a good episode. I freaked out a few times during the
I don't know, maybe
podcast.
once or twice.
The thing is, we're just having a private conversation.
Yeah, you forget that everyone
Are
might
listening
watch after.
sometimes. I don't know. I get passionate about it.
I love it. We all love it. Trust me.
Jorg or York, H. Nassen, what's up? Says, really like the discussion about the desert with Jason Mantzoukas.
Yes.
He really brought in some depth and insightful points of how great the episode was. Also, shout out to Nadu for mentioning Jason.
Yeah.
There are these moments where, like, the weight of all of these lives and all of this kind of responsibility, you can feel it on the shoulders of a child. You know, and this is where I feel like the show starts to really, you know, identify and build towards more adult themes and more adult things. Like, I feel like season 1 is a lot of every week is a new adventure. We're going here and we're going to do this. We're going here and we're going to do this. But everything is like new characters and then we move on. And I feel like here is where we start to really dig in on serialization and telling, like, eyes on what is the story. We know the comet's coming. Now we know the eclipse is coming. Now we have a strategy. Now we know where we're going. Now we have to find Appa. You know, everything now is very future looking.
So, Jason came in hot.
He came in hot. He came in. We went through all the stuff with the Mechanist with Jason for the first episode, and then he came back for the desert. And yeah, this is a person who loves the Avatarverse.
Yep.
Has clearly seen the series over and over. It makes no secret
Obviously,
about
he's a
that.
great writer and he's a great world builder.
He has a great brain.
So he's a great brain, and so his insight was definitely educational for me.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Love it. Shout out to Jason and shout out to Cactus Juice.
Yes, shout out to Cactus. I felt smarter at the end of that conversation a little bit.
Yeah.
That's one of the classes in my degree in Avatar.
Yeah, that's right. He was a visiting professor.
He was a visiting professor.
We're so glad that he was able to come in.
He's added to my knowledge. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jason.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jason. Next, we have from J. Louise 11. I loved the episode with Ron Funches. I especially loved his perspectives on all the best comedic moments of Avatar. And unless I'm mistaken, that's the origin of the Cabbage Heads.
I think I'm very open to lots of different styles of comedy. I guess overall, I like story-driven comedy. I liked my humor and everything to be driven off of what's happening in real life. I think especially as I get older, I find less in common with like absurdist humor, which I think when I was young, I was all about, and I was all about, especially for myself and the way I do it, I was all about, let me show you how smart I am, how many tricks, how much wordplay I can use in a joke. And now I'm more like, let me tell you about my life. I think like the relationship between Zuko and Uncle is one of the funniest things that, I mean, it's like heartwarming and sweet and a lot of things, but just the way they speak to each other as family does, in the way that there is love and care, but also there is this like, you need to get yourself together, and you gotta and just Uncle is just very funny as a character and just very dry. So I think he's but also I love how silly and weird Milo is with snot hanging out of his nose. So I like both.
I think he suggested Cabbage Heads.
He did, right?
Yeah.
He's funny.
He's so funny.
He's
And
so
he
funny.
Loves Avatar.
He loves Avatar. I like that there are some funny people.
Yeah?
Yeah, because you think, I mean, I love Mike and Brian. They're great. Our two dads are great.
Yeah.
Not always the funniest people, right?
You're going to go ahead and throw that out there
I'm
right
not going to
now?
say they're not. They're great.
About our two dads?
I love our two dads.
Would
I
you
love our
say,
two
let me
dads.
ask you this. Would you say that the Avatar, The Last Airbender show is funny?
Super funny.
They created it.
I know they created
They
it. but-
wrote many of they were in the writer's room. They were leading.
I know. But then it's great to see other funny people that are like very, very like funny.
Oh, yeah.
Like forward funny.
Yeah.
I think Mike and Brian might be quiet funny.
You don't want to walk that back at all?
I did.
You walked it back.
I said quiet funny. I think they're quiet. They're quiet funny.
They like to be behind the scenes. They don't even, I mean, they're
Their
great when they
humor-
come on the podcast,
Oh, yeah, they're
but
great.
they
They're
always
amazing.
say, before we start recording, they're always
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we're
There's
not
disclaimers.
like,
There's always disclaimers.
yeah, I think what they're actually saying is like, we're not obnoxious like the two of you are, who love the sound of your own
Right.
voices and
Yeah.
who love being on
I mean,
camera.
We are actors. But then
So-
when you meet some of the other people, the creatives and writers
Yeah.
and what that are like super like they're like you see the guys making like they're funny.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
they're doing
Josh and
yeah.
John and May.
They're all
and
funny.
We
They're
love
all
having
funny.
those writers on. People love having
So-
those writers on. People love in general the behind the scenes.
Totally.
There were a lot of big, broad, loving comments on just having all of the behind the scenes creators here and making it happen. And we didn't pick apart too many individual things because
Yeah.
we don't have time to. But
No.
oh my gosh,
But it's
amazing.
it's just fun to see all the parts that come together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Caroline Marie Hipster Elf says Sifu Kisu on the pod explaining the different martial arts within the Avatarverse. Very cool. Shout out to Sifu Kisu.
Season 1, Braving the
Season
Elements.
1.
Did you have an opinion about how martial arts were being represented in kind of TV and film? And had you seen it in animation before? Like, was that something you came in with opinions on, or was it really about the inception of this concept with Brian?
I actually had a lot of opinions, and the thing that attracted me most about Brian showed me his storyboards for the pencil test, and the angles that they were drawn and the perspectives that they were drawn were so inspiring that I was like, wow, if I was an artist, I would have drawn it this way. And so he caught my attention right away, and I could see that he had a vision. And let me be clear here: the true martial art force behind this entire thing is Brian. Brian had a vision that he wanted to see, and we kind of articulated that together. In terms of the business, like you would see in animation, like they do someone doing a flying kick, and they didn't show the detail of the flying kick, and they would just dolly that across the screen. And when we were talking about this, and Brian talked about all the detail he wanted to do, and people that don't know, that's really animation intensive, right? And I think animators get the same amount per page to animate just the most simplest thing. And so to draw these details of someone standing, someone stepping, someone taking a breath. Wow. We talked about breathing, and I don't think that had ever been in anything. Yeah. And so we incorporated all these elements and took this time. People don't really understand the time. There was a lot of work, and probably much more work than I was prepared to do in terms of that.
Sifu Kisu and Brian were on talking
Brian.
about all the
Amazing.
styles, talking about the incredible coincidence of Toph's Toph's bending style
Yeah.
having been invented by a blind person.
Yes.
In real life, and them not knowing that
Right.
as they melded her bending with like a real style of martial arts, like extraordinary.
Sifu Manny would help with
Sifu Manny,
would help
also
with all
huge
that.
shout out to Sifu Manny.
Earth bending.
Love talking about that bending.
I mean,
And,
it's great because like martial arts is so much a part of the story and the fight styles of these, and then to really get behind it to see the details that especially Brian put into because
yeah.
Brian was studying with Sifu Kisu and then them bringing that to it, and then them making a character inspired by Sifu Kisu. It's like a whole cool thing, a whole cool cycle going on.
yeah, and that's Pian Dao, right? The,
Yeah, Pian
the
Dao,
sword
yes.
master.
The sword master.
Is inspired by Sifu Kisu, and two, and we've talked about it, I think a little bit on this season with Brian here, but just the talking about the physicality and the actual physics of bending and
Right.
how Kisu and Brian worked so hard to make sure they could find a way to communicate visually and verbally with the animators so that they could there could be stakes to the bending. There could
Right.
be, you run out of breath, you
Right.
run out of resources.
It's not like endless.
Yeah, when you feel the impact of those blows, all of that stuff, so that it doesn't feel like it's just kind of floating in space without gravity. Gravity is key
Right.
in world building, right? In this world building.
Of course, it's brilliant, and it's just a great episode. Yeah,
Love.
Thank you.
I know.
Hipster Elf, Caroline Marie. All right, also we have Fishbone Catfish. Huh? Fishbone Catfish. I absolutely loved when you had Jack DeSena on in season 1, improvising lines with you for Dante to reply, "That's rough, buddy." One of my favorite moments for sure.
Oh, this was another really popular one. It's
great.
A lot of other folks loved this one.
Dante could say his line pretty free and clear.
Right.
Ooh, that's what we should do. Let's just say a few things, and then Dante will have to respond with that line no matter what we say. Like, it could just be random. It doesn't have to be about Avatar. Like, I twisted my ankle, and it was rough because I didn't get to go on that hike I really wanted to go on.
That's rough, buddy.
I think I'm having a sleep apnea. My dad had it, has it, and then I've been waking up with headaches, and I talked to my doctor. I did an at-home sleep study, and they're going to maybe looking at getting me a CPAP machine. It's really blowing my mind, making me feel really old. I don't know.
That's rough, buddy.
I'm just starting to come to terms with the fact that I can't eat cereal all day, every day, for every meal, and that is extremely upsetting to me. What advice do you have for me?
That's rough, buddy.
Oh, Dante, this is an igneous rock.
That's rough, buddy.
Oh, yes. Anything in the pun
There you go.
family, I am so on board for.
Jack's so funny, and you're so funny. So you guys get together. I was like, "What's going on here?" They're both
love
improv guys, so they're both improv and their behinds off, and I'm just like, "What's going on here?"
We love Jack. We always love
great.
anytime Jack is on. What a wonderful, wonderful human.
He's wonderful. So, shout out to Jack DeSena.
Yeah. That's rough, buddy.
That's rough, buddy.
Then we have Rusty Kelpie X. We had a ton of people also who wanted to raise this one.
Yeah.
Also an early one. One of my favorite moments was when Zach told Dante that Zutara is all in his head.
I'm gonna give the answer that everyone wants to hear, that I just can't not say Katang. You know, like
Katang, say it, say
it's Katang. Like, everyone was waiting for it the entire series. It happened. You know, what else is there?
I mean, there is.
There are other ships,
Of course,
Zach.
of
There
course.
are other ships.
I
I
think
know.
Zuko and May are great. I love both of those characters. I think Cricket, who voiced May, was great.
Mako's great. Yeah, Mako's a great ship.
Yep. I like.
There's that Zutara ship. You heard of that Zutara ship? You heard about the
We don't
Zutara
talk
ship?
about that in these parts, all right? This is a Zutara free zone. Yeah. It's all in your head, buddy.
It's all in your head, buddy.
I love it.
You heard it here. I love it.
Alyssa Joy Art also said something
So people
very
talking
similar.
about people talking about blurring the line. Zach.
I mean,
No.
he's a Katang shipper
He's
through
a
and through
Katang,
for
and he
good
should
reason.
be. I guess he should be. I mean, it's canon if you like that kind of stuff.
As we always say, there's room for it all.
There's room for it
all.
If you like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Shout out to Zach. It's great to get
so
Zach
great
on
to
the
have
show.
Him. We've had him on every season.
He's great.
He's such a dear and wonderful person.
Wonderful guy.
And you found the Avatar.
I did find him.
That was something that people were saying too. Is like, don't forget, Zuko did find the Avatar.
He was in Brooklyn.
He was in Brooklyn.
He was in Brooklyn.
Who'd have thunk it? Simple as that.
Zuko didn't know he was in Brooklyn.
That's correct. That's correct. So shout out to Zach. Okay, we can't move on without talking about this.
Which one?
It's all about what Rob Soto says. And not only is Rob Soto speaking for themselves, but also Zach and Allie and Sparkle Queen and Shay Shay. I always laugh when Dante insists there are a lot of good folks in the Fire Nation. A lot of good folks in the Fire Nation. And you all reluctantly entertain him.
Folks in the Fire Nation, you guys. A lot of good folks
Here we go.
in the Fire Nation. There are a lot of good people in the Fire Nation. There's good folks in the Fire Nation. There's some good folks. Good folks in the Fire Nation, you guys. Good folks out there.
Folks in the Fire. We've got to get a shirt that says there's some good folks in the Fire Nation. We know, yes, Dante, I know there are some good people in the Fire Nation.
Good folks out there in the Fire Nation, Varney. Good folks.
There are some good people in the Fire Nation, Varney. Some real good people.
Now, there's some good folks in the Fire Nation.
I'm never going to argue that. There are some good people in the Fire Nation.
There
are some good people in the Fire Nation.
There's some good people in the Fire Nation, Varney. Good
Yeah.
people in the Fire Nation.
Good people in the Fire Nation.
It's good people in the Fire Nation. Good people
Don't
out
you do
there.
it. Don't you do it. It's a constant fallback. We have
There's a lot of
said
good
it.
folks.
We have-
Entertain me. I just bumped into one of the goodest of good folks of the Fire Nation. My Uncle Iroh right here. Firebending, looking very lovely in his
Yeah.
Earth Kingdom garb. He was just at the tea shop, and now he's just practicing some Earthbending.
Yeah.
Because there are good folks in Fire Nation.
There's some great folks in the
Great
Fire Nation.
folks in the Fire Nation.
It's not just Dante who believes it. We have proven
know.
it here on the show. It is canon.
It
There
is
are some
canon.
real good folks in the Fire
We
Nation.
know there's some bad folks.
There's one or two bad
There's
folks
one
in
or
the
two
Fire
bad
Nation. Look,
apples in the
Look.
barrel.
it's never great
It's not
when
good.
somebody ends a race of people.
We don't like genocide, and we don't like the continue. They wanted to go more than one. Because we did the air nomads, and then when during the finale, they were
Yeah.
like, let's just do
Yeah,
the rest.
Ozai was like, I guess we can just get rid of
I
everybody.
guess you just get rid of all of it. I mean, maybe we'll keep the Earth Kingdom. The Earth Kingdom's kind of cool. They got our back.
No, unforgivable.
But not talking about those people.
We're
Other
talking about the
people-
good people in
talking
the
about
Fire
good
Nation,
people. Talking
y'all.
about the good folks of the Fire Nation. Good folks of Fire Nation.
Major shout out, major theme of the podcast. It's as if that was the intention of the entire podcast. The goal, the number one goal of the podcast was to apologize for the Fire Nation and talk about how cool they
We
are.
apologize.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'm not trying to whitewash anything.
I know it.
That was done in the past.
Yes. We learned from our
the
mistakes.
biggest apologies.
Mhm.
Sincere.
Yeah. And you went out and you got a stable full of ostrich horses.
Ostrich horses for that person, you know. I'm sorry we stole your horse. I don't know if you
Yeah.
needed to tend to the farm. I don't know. Is it your only? I mean, we have tons of ostrich horses. I don't know. Do you have other ones? I assumed you might have other ostrich horses, and I was just taking one
Quit
of
while
them.
you're ahead, Zuko.
Okay,
Zuko,
I'm sorry.
You don't need. This is the thing. When you apologize, you don't then put it back on the other person saying,
I'm
"I
sorry.
assumed you had plenty." You still took it. You're
I'm
apologizing.
sorry. I
and
thought
you're
you
giving
had
them a
more than
stable
one.
of ostrich horses. All right. That is going to do it for our walk down memory lane.
Hey, you guys. I'm impressed that you guys know the past stuff, and I'm flattered, and I'm embarrassed.
I know. I feel all of those same feelings. I love my buddy. We have been having such a great time.
Great time.
It's going to be so fun getting into all the amazing conversations and theories and criticisms and defenses and adventures and reminiscings that we are going to do in the seasons to come, just like we have done for the last 3 seasons. It's been awesome.
It's been amazing, and thank you guys for listening and hanging out with us every week. And also thank you for continuing the conversations at the Comic-Cons that we see you guys at. And we continue these conversations that we have on the show in real life, which I love.
Absolutely. I feel exactly the same.
And there's so many more things to talk about in the Avatarverse.
Yes.
The new movie.
Oh my gosh.
Movies,
Yep,
shows.
yep.
I don't know. I mean, but there's series, books, the comics. I want to dive into that, of course.
Yeah.
All of Korra. But if I have my way, pretty soon we'll be meeting a certain new feisty avatar, right?
I'm the Avatar. You gotta deal with it.
I can't wait to really get into it and really, and then get that whole cast in here. I mean, I can't wait. You know, there's so many cool people.
That cast was bananas.
Bananas to get. I mean,
yeah.
I can't wait to get all those people in the room and like let's
Let's
chop it up.
Let's do it. Everybody, thank you so much for giving us another amazing season of Braving the Elements. We love you. We love our Cabbage Heads. We couldn't do it without you. We love our entire team. Shout out to our production team,
Yes.
to our post-production team, to Nickelodeon. Always so supportive. And, of course, our two dads and everybody who made the original series possible. That includes you.
Thank you.
And
it was our honor. It was our honor.
Honor.
It was our honor to do it.
Honor. Thank you. We'll talk to you next season.
We'll see you guys next season.
We're bringing our honor. Now you do your impression of me. Yeah, there it is. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Did you know you can hear bonus episodes of our award-winning podcasts?
Subscribe to Avatar Braving the Elements Premium on Apple Podcasts for early access, exclusive content, and ad-free episodes.
I'm so excited!